Okay, good afternoon. I call this meeting to order today at 12:31 p.m. And I'll do the territorial land acknowledgement. Before our meeting gets underway, I would like to formally recognize the traditional keepers of this land and specifically our neighbors of the Alderville First Nation with a formal territorial acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge that the Township of Alnwick-Haldeman is located on the Mississauga Anishinaabe territory and is the traditional territory of the Mississauga Anishinaabe. The Township of Alnwick-Haldeman respectfully acknowledges that the Mississauga Nation are the collective stewards and caretakers of these lands and waters in perpetuity, and that they continue to maintain this responsibility to ensure their health and integrity for generations to come. Thank you. We have a moment of silence for our fallen soldiers and citizens, and keep in mind Ukraine. Thank you. Item 4, are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof? Seeing none. Item 5 is approval of the agenda as circulated, but Pat has a little announcement.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. The noise bylaw, we've had some questions on it and I have sent it for a legal opinion and I haven't received that opinion back yet. So I'm going to suggest to council that we defer it until our next meeting on the 16th. And the other item is we have 2 additional items to discuss in closed session under section 239(2)(b). That's the changes to the agenda.
Thank you. Okay, be it resolved that the agenda for the regular council session of Thursday, June 2nd, 2022 be approved as circulated with the addendums. 9.3, the changes to the noise bylaw be deferred until June 16th, and the addition of 2 other items on the closed session agenda. I will move it. Councillor Philp, second. Councillor Hogg, all in favor? Carried. Item 6 is approval of our council meetings. Approval of special council session May 9th and regular council session minutes of May 19th, 2022. Be it resolved that the special council session minutes of May 9th, 2022 and the regular council session minutes of Thursday, May 19th, 2022 be approved. Mover, Deputy Mayor Gibson, second by Councillor Hogg. All in favor? Carried. Item 7, is there any business arising from the previous minutes? Councillor Booth?
Through your worship to the acting clerk, I'm just wondering 17.4, Pat talks about a report maybe coming to us about the rose leaf. Is that coming in the next meeting then?
Yes, I've asked Jennifer Steen to prepare that and it'll be on the June 16th meeting.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else? Deputy Mayor Gibson?
Thank you. I just wanted to speak to the May 19th minutes in regard to the report from Jennifer Current with short-term rental. And I have had some residents call with some really thoughtful questions about how to interpret the bylaw. And I'm sure everybody else on council has received the same types of questions. So I know I have spoken with, emailed actually with Jennifer and Troy about maybe just getting in layman terms on the website, you know, some answers to some frequently asked questions would be helpful. And I'm of the understanding that that is coming. So I just wanted to let the public know that that is being worked on. Jennifer is away currently, but when she gets back, we'll be able to move ahead with that.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? No. Item 8. We have a presentation today. Quite an honor, this presentation for a firefighter. And be it resolved that council permit Dave Dawson, Fire Chief, to take the floor to make a presentation to council. Have a mover? Councillor Booth, second. Deputy Mayor Gibson, all in favor? Carried.
Well, thank you, your worship, council members, staff. It's my honor and privilege today to announce before you the recipient of the Firefighter Medal of Merit Award from the Firefighters Association of Ontario to our own firefighter, Matt Dickinson. Matt joined the fire department in 2018 and has been a valuable member of our department since. I met with Matt. Obviously, he received this award a few weeks ago, but it only was prudent that we would announce it before council and recognize Matt in front of you here today. On January 6th of 2020, on County Road 23 north of Grafton, Ontario, firefighter Matt Dickinson was traveling home from work and came across a single male patient that had ditched his vehicle and was unconscious and was still in the vehicle. Matt, through his training, was able to pull the individual from the vehicle as it was catching on fire. Both the male patient and his dog were spared due to firefighter Dickinson's quick actions to the event. And he was promoted and forwarded to the Association, the Firefighter Association of Ontario for this award, and a regional letter that was sent to Matt on December 30th of 2020. Because of COVID, the medal still remains in the mail. So we haven't seen that yet, but hopefully we will. And that will be awarded to Matt. We'll definitely get a photo and get that posted up in our fire stations. So after I read this letter, I invite your worship and any other council members that would like to be involved with the photo. And we'll take a group photo here with Matt. Just shake his hand. Dear firefighter Matt Dickinson, on behalf of the Firefighters Association of Ontario and the Mutual Insurance Association of Ontario, it gives me great pleasure to inform you that you've been selected as a recipient of the 2020 FFAO, which is the Firefighters Association of Ontario Medal of Merit. The FFAO Medal of Merit will be awarded to you for your actions on January 6, 2020 on County Road 23 north of Grafton. It is for these actions in keeping with the highest traditions of the fire service and reflecting great credit upon the Alderwick-Hallman Fire Rescue and firefighters across Ontario that the Firefighters Association of Ontario proudly presents to you the 2020 Firefighter FFAO Medal of Merit. Thank you.
Very nice.
Yolanda,
Want to come up this
Yolanda.
way now?
Brian's in the waiting.
Actually, if you do it there, then it will be recorded.
You almost need to take the hot seat there so people can see your face.
That's the shortest meeting Dave Dawson's ever had.
Okay, item 8.2 is a presentation by Jeffrey Abrams and Janice Atwood Sikowski. Co-principals of Principals Integrity. We are Integrity Commissioner's Annual Report for 2022. So we welcome today Janice and Jeffrey. Seems to me that we haven't seen you for a while.
It does feel like it's been a while. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor, and thank you to you for making time for us on your agenda. You'll see Jeff on one of the other Hollywood Square boxes, and thank you for allowing us to attend virtually as well.
Oh, you're more than welcome.
So we will just, you have our report before you, and we'll just speak to a few items in it. It's as much for the public's understanding as your own. We haven't had a lot of dealings over the past couple of years. I think sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes it feels like we've drifted apart. So let's reconnect a little bit. And so our role as your Integrity Commissioner is really to provide you with advice and guidance and assistance in policy development when it's necessary, with respect to ethical matters, matters of conduct and behavior, et cetera, which are covered in your code of conduct, and which we assisted you going back 3 or 4 years in adopting, and to receive complaints when there are complaints, and administer those, and if necessary, provide a report to council following an investigation. When an Integrity Commissioner provides advice to a member of council on a matter that a member may have concerns about, a frequent area of question is, for example, conflict of interest. That advice is confidential to the member. So the Integrity Commissioner doesn't share that information with others. They simply provide written advice to the member of council, and the member can then rely on that advice, comfortably aware that provided they follow that advice and the facts are generally as recited to the Integrity Commissioner, that they are protected against any potential complaint down the road. So that's just how we manage our advice function. We're always available by phone if there's a short notice, or we try always to be available by phone, but typically we like to say that we'll turn an advice request around within a day or two. We have, you'll see in our report to you, we have not had the opportunity to provide any members with advice. There have been no requests for advice over the last couple of years. That's a little unusual. We like to think that members are aware that we're here, and if you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out. So you have our 911, so to speak, in your, I'm sure, in your emails, so you know how to contact us. With respect to receiving and administering complaints which may come in from the public, and again, over the course of the past 2 years, which period of time this report covers, we have not had any complaints from anybody with respect to any members of council, which is a very good thing. That's a sort of a good housekeeping seal of approval, if you will. But just for the public's information, we have a triage process that we engage in at the beginning when we first receive a complaint, just to make sure that it's something within our jurisdiction. If it's operational, we'll redirect the complainant back to the appropriate staff. Often it's just to the CAO to inquire about operational matters. If it's something within jurisdiction and it's something that is in the public interest to warrant an investigation, we will investigate and will provide, if it can't be resolved informally, then we will provide a public report to council on that. So as I say, during the period of time covered by this particular annual report, which is really more of an 18-month period, there have been no complaints to us with respect to any members of council. We do, however, use the opportunity of our reporting in to you to give just a bit of a snapshot from our vantage point, serving over about 4 dozen municipalities as Integrity Commissioner across Ontario. We have a bit of a vantage point to see what the themes are, and we cover a few of those in our report to you, just to sort of give you a snapshot of what the ethical concerns are around the province. So one area that has come up a number of times over the past couple of years in other municipalities is members failing to maintain confidentiality around confidential closed meeting information. And so that we treat that as a cardinal rule. And you will recall when we do training and orientation, there's always some emphasis on the obligation of a member to maintain confidentiality around information that they are provided with in closed session, unless and until council decides that that information will be made public. It doesn't lie in the hands of a single member to decide what they want to make public from that confidential information. Another area that has come up fairly frequently is disparagement. So what we reference in the report as the obligation of non-disparagement. So treating each other respectfully, not engaging in disrespectful conduct, and certainly never devolving into name calling and that kind of a thing. So we, this is something that it bears repeating, that members are responsible for their conduct, whether it's during a meeting or outside of council chamber, in other engagements with the public, or on social media. So we emphasize to members that they're always responsible. It's really a 24/7 position that you hold, and you need to always be mindful of that obligation to treat each other, the public and staff, with respect and decorum. It's, I guess, as they say, it's all right to disagree, but it shouldn't be done in a way that is disagreeable. One of the areas that has been, we see frequent questions on and has arisen in a number of other municipalities is the obligation to avoid conflicts of interest. And this actually was the subject matter in large part of the Collingwood inquiry, which took place about a year ago, year and a half ago now. And there were about over 300 recommendations coming out of that judicial inquiry, dealing with a broad range of issues. But in our report, we touch on the issue of the obligation on members to recognize and step away when they have a conflict of interest, or when there's a matter which gives rise to a conflict of interest for them. So we explain a little of that just in the body of this report, that those are, we treat those matters as disqualifying interests. And it's important for members to, in circumstances where they believe that there are facts that give rise to a conflict of interest for them, they should reach out to the Integrity Commissioner and get individual advice on the matter, simply because so many of those situations are very fact specific and depend very much on the facts of what the councillor perceives and what exists in terms of the facts of the relationships, etc. And I guess finally, one of the areas where we see members of council sometimes go astray is when they don't stay in their lane. So, and by that we mean when members try to get into administrative matters or operational decisions and try to tell staff how to do their job, what to do, etc. As you can appreciate, and as the public expects, council members speak as a collective. Council members make decisions and direct staff and set policy at the council table. And it doesn't lie in the hands of any one member of council to get in and try to steer the boat, so to speak, or tell staff how to manage a file. So it's really important to understand there should be a handoff to staff, And even the most well-meaning members can get into trouble when they try to get in there and fix something by themselves. So we just mentioned that as a cautionary note. Otherwise, as you mentioned, Mayor Latchford, we haven't had a tremendous amount of engagement. We're not upset about that, but we want to make sure that you know that we are here to answer your questions, should you have any, and you should never hesitate to ask. And
We
so,
won't.
well, having said that, that's the extent of our presentation on our report.
And we're happy to know that you're there in case any of us do need you. So we've had a couple of good years, so hopefully that carries on. And
Excellent.
thank you for the presentation. Does Jeff have anything to say? Maybe?
No, no, Mayor, thank you very much. It was Janice's turn to deliver the report today, but we are both available if you have any questions.
Okay, thank you. And good to see both of you. Thanks for touching base with us.
Our pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye now.
Motion to receive that.
Yep. Be it resolved that council receive Jeff Abrams and Janice Atwood Podkovsky, co-principals, principals integrity presentation on the Integrity Commissioner's annual report. I had kind of had to reword it. I have a mover. Deputy Mayor Gibson, second by Councillor Philp, all in favor? Carried. Item 9 is the building report. 9.1 is report from Daryl Hall, planning assist, CBO MBEO planning assistant dated June 2nd. And it's the building permit summary for May 2022. Be it resolved that the report from Daryl Hall, CBO MBEO planning assistant dated June 2nd, 2022, rebuilding permit summary be received and filed. Could I have the mover? Deputy Mayor Gibson and second by Councillor Hogg. Anything you need to highlight, Daryl?
No, good afternoon, council and staff. No, just through you, Mayor Latchford, just to let council know, I mean, we're pretty well at the same spot we were last year. The end of May, we had 67. This report does state 67. A couple have come in from May or that were issued after the report. So we're actually up to 72 permits issued now. Out of the 22 single family dwellings that were issued this year, 2 more will be added on to there with those updated ones. So that's actually 24. And 10 of them was done in May. So it's been a busy month reviewing permits and inspections and stuff, but it's been, you know, pretty well par for the course the last couple of years. So
that's good. Any questions from council for Daryl? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Carried. So 9.2, again, Daryl, be it resolved that the council of the Township of Almac Haldeman receive and file the report from Daryl Hall, CBO MBEO planning assistant dated June 2nd, 22 regarding the bylaw infractions. Can I have a mover? Councillor Booth, second. Councillor Philip. Daryl, is there anything in particular you need to speak to?
no, it's just for information purposes for council. I will add that this was bylaw officer Rob Gird's first week that this report came from. So these are the ones that he dealt with just in his first week. We do have a lot that we're dealing with right now between both of us. So next month's report will hopefully have a breakdown and summary for council to know which ones, you know, whether they're short-term rentals, noise, property standards. I'll do a little of a breakdown for council like I do with my building permit summary for that for next month, but there'll be a full report as well. So I can answer any questions if anybody has any with these complaints, but.
Okay, any questions on any of these complaints, council? Deputy Mayor Gibson has one for you.
Through you, Mayor. And Daryl, it's not a question, it's just more of I was pleased to see that that Rob on that first infraction, did a little bit of work, part of it, community service also. I think that's really nice to see that there's some education and help going on.
Yeah, well, great. Yeah, this is a new thing that I think, sorry, that the Northumberland Humane Society or Habitat for Humanity. Thank you. Habitat for Humanity has something going this year, which is great. I think it's awesome too. And Rob did reach out, like I said, and is getting some help through them with it. So it's great. It is a great program. So.
Anything further? All in favor of the motion? Carried. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Daryl. 9.3, we're going to defer this report on changes to the noise bylaw until June 16th. So I can just do that in motion. Be it resolved that Council of the Township of Alnwick Haldeman defer changes to noise bylaw number 73-2013 to the June 16th meeting. Have a mover? Deputy Mayor Gibson, second. Councillor Booth, all in favor? Carried. Item 10 is Public Works. Report from Brian McMillan, Manager of Public Works, Parks and Recreation, dated June 2nd, 2022. And Public Works, Parks and Recreation departmental update. Be it resolved that the report from Brian McMillan, Manager of Public Works, Parks and Recreation, dated June 2nd, 2022, Public Works, Parks and Recreation departmental update, be received and filed. That's a mouthful all at once.
Yeah.
Have a mover, please. Councillor Hogg, second. Councillor Phil. Okay. Anything you wish to highlight, Brian, or you would just like questions?
Yes, so good afternoon, Mayor Latchford and members of council. Just want to maybe highlight the one just with the storm that really affected the township in the north of the township near Rice Lake. It did kind of put us a week behind, half behind on some of our other projects in the township, like the winter sand cleanup, which now will probably be completed by the end of next week, and even some of our grading and our dust control program, and even some of our patching. A lot of the rain lately too is some of our roads that are a bit rough have really started to pothole pretty bad. So, if you do get calls, I guess we are a little bit behind, but that storm did put us behind. I'd say, about 7 or 8 business days, or work days. So everything, I'd be happy to answer any questions though with the rest of the report though.
Okay. And we can't do anything about that. That was nature that took over for 10 minutes and spread it out a little longer. Councillor Philip has a question for you.
Hi, Brian. I just wanted to personally thank you and your staff for the excellent job that you've done during the storm. I know that lots of people have mentioned to me how much they appreciated the extra effort that your staff went to make sure that the roads were safe for travel. So I just wanted to add my voice to that group and say thank you very much.
I'll pass that on to staff. Thanks, Councillor Philip.
Anyone else? Well done those days, seeing those guys out there doing the extra. All in favor? Carried. Our next item is item 11. It's administration. Be it resolved that Council of the Township of Alnwick Haldeman received the report from Acting Clerk dated June 2nd, 2022, regarding updates to the procedure bylaw, and further that council concur with the proposed changes, and further that the acting clerk bring the new procedural bylaw to the June 16th, 2022 council meeting for passage, and that bylaws 03/2019, 25-2020, 85-2020, 105-2020, 125-2020, 35-2021, and 59-2021 be repealed. Could I have a mover, please? Deputy Mayor Gibson, second. Counselor Hogg. I don't remember changing it all up.
I was actually shocked.
So I have the movers. I just wonder if council, if you wish to address anything in this report before it comes back, or any comments, questions? Counselor Hogg?
Yeah, I'm in full agreement with number 4, changing the time from 9:15 to 12:30. I think that's excellent. Good idea.
It's actually, it was 12:30. It was changed to 9:15. That is the planning meeting. That was one of the amendments that had been previously passed by council.
Okay.
So if council wants something different,
Oh, that's just for planning?
that's just for planning.
Oh,
If council wants something different, you just have to tell me.
why wouldn't we want the council at the same time then? Does anybody that?
Well, planning at one time was at 12:30 as well. And there's been debate at times. I don't know I think the real reason of 12:30 was maybe people working. It's been 12:30 since I got here in 2012, since you got here. So I don't know the real reason, but if council chose to change it back to 9:15, I'm okay with that too. I imagine that would depend more on your schedule, Sherry, your work schedule.
I only have a few more meetings to attend, so. I think, and I have to apologize to everybody because I was late at the last planning meeting, thinking in my mind it started at 9:30 and it was 9:15, and I wonder if 9:30 for planning is a more reasonable time for staff to come in, check their emails and get settled, answer phone calls, rather than 9:15. That's just a thought. The other thing that we talked about, I know several times, is should we, in the course of our meetings in a month, be holding an evening meeting to accommodate people that can't get out of work, like that want to attend and can't, or don't have capability for watching online.
I was going to mention that as well. So this change could be at any time. If council chose to change
Yeah, if
the
council
time.
chooses to, you just need to let me know so I can incorporate it into the procedural bylaw and bring back the revised.
Councilor Phil.
I just want make the point that that Sherry was about to make, I think, was that council will change fairly shortly. And maybe that's something that should be deferred to meet the timelines of the new officials. Maybe we should just stay with what we have and finish up, and then if they feel that they need to make changes, then they can go ahead and do that. That would be my take on it.
I just think that if we chose to change, it's to start a meeting in the morning is easier than 12:30 because you really can't get at anything in the morning. You got to stop,
I like it the way it is.
come in at 12:30. So just whether we leave it this way until the new council takes over and you bring it back to them, or whether council wishes to have changes at this time. It's up to council.
I mean, I'll go along the same thread that Councillor Phillip has, and I think, when we're close to the end of this term, it just makes sense to leave the meeting times and let the incoming council determine if they want to make a change.
Okay.
Maybe it's a good election platform that, for incoming, nominees.
Well, and it could depend on some of their schedules as well, which works out better for the whole group. Councillor Booth?
I would, through you, your worship, I would agree with that too. I think the idea behind the 9:15 was always when people were making presentations at planning, like the farmers or stuff like that, they could get their meeting done in the morning and then get back out to work instead of, like you said, if it's at 12:30, your whole morning is sort of tied up. But I agree with Councillor Philip and Deputy Mayor Gibson that, we should leave it for the next council, and I'm sure that can be one of the first things that they can look at. But I would be pushing for them to have an evening meeting that we've been talking about for the last 6 months or so.
Or at least try an evening meeting and see how many attend. Because quite often, if you're here real late, you're here by yourself. Okay, any other comments about the changes? Councillor Booth?
Yes, through you, your worship, to Pat. Just 6.2, it talks about, maybe you could clarify it for me. It says council reserves the right to enter into agreements for the audio and or video recording of open council planning meetings, which may or may not be used for distribution to the public. And I guess so that's one thing I need just clarification on. And the other one says recordings shall be kept for 1 year and are not considered an official record. So do we not have to post them, or does council actually have an opportunity to say, use the Booth used a swear word, and we don't want to have that council meeting on YouTube?
So this section came out of an amendment that had already been previously passed by council. No, you're not required to post it, but that's up to council. If you want to have them posted, that's not a problem. The other issue about it not being an official record, the minutes are what is considered the official record.
Okay.
And that's in the municipal act.
Good to know.
So
we
again,
really
if-
have to look over the minutes, because Yolanda or somebody's doing the minutes and you pass them and something's not in there, you can't actually refer back to the video recording that.
Well, according to your procedure bylaw, that record is only kept for a year.
Yeah.
So if it's something that, because sometimes things come up in a year or two later and council say, oh, I remember this discussion, that record won't be there according to what your procedure bylaw says now, so.
That's good.
And again, if council wants something changed, you just need to let me know so I can incorporate it into the final version that's coming forward on the 16th.
So I don't know how council feels. I mean, if they're doing the recordings, I think it's just, we all just thought it was normal that they go up on, they get posted. So do we want council to have the choice of not posting it? We talk about transparency and everything.
I don't
else.
know what we'd have to hide.
Well, that's what I'm
Let's,
saying,
like if
right
it goes
now
up
says
for,
Council has the choice. I would think we just make it that they get posted electronically, right? And that's it. So council can't in the future run into problems where a member would say, I don't want today's meeting posted on YouTube or whatever. 'Cause right
and
now
would
they have
that
a
have to
choice.
be a vote by council at the time, Pat?
If you include it in your procedure bylaw now, it'll be the law until it gets changed. So if council want them to be posted, then what I would suggest is that we, where it says may or may not be used, just change that to will be used for distribution, and that will clarify that.
Okay, what's everybody think? And can we separate a portion of the meeting if there was a reason?
The
To
only reason would be
eliminate a
like if it's a
portion?
closed session, then that would not be distributed.
Okay, I'm thinking if somebody come in and was very disruptive and it wasn't a good scene.
Then that's censorship.
Oh, okay, we can't censor people. All
Deputy
right.
Mayor Gibson has something.
Yes.
Just a clarification. The social platform that we use, can we choose? Or does it need to be for a reason YouTube? Like, are there other ways to, or does it need to be? Like, I'm in agreement. I thought we had decided as a council that we were going to post online our meetings, and I'm surprised that we have that wording in there, may or may not, because
And I'm not sure
Yeah.
why it was put in there originally. When I was reviewing it, I looked at all the amendments that had been made since your bylaw was passed in 2019, and then just tried to incorporate it into, but if it's something that we need to change, it's not a problem. That's why I bring it to this meeting, give you time to review it and make suggestions, and then I can bring the final one at the meeting on the 16th.
Because it's posted now and
Yep.
people watch them,
Yep.
so.
Sure. Yeah, I support, through the mayor, I support both my counselor and the deputy mayor. I think it should just change the wording to will. And that's that.
Will be used for distribution.
That's why we did it.
I don't disagree with pulling it down after a year, because I think, those minutes are of the record. And, I think that's a good enough time frame for people to review and.
Yep,
and then
Sure.
Get deleted.
Yeah. Make space. Okay, so that's basically the only change so far. Any other changes, council, as you go through it?
Just a point of clarification, the CAO made me aware that there was a concern about under the planning agendas, which is under 8.1. Delegations is down as number 10. That's because planning meetings are set up so that you have your public meeting first. So anybody who is speaking to against a planning application or in favor of a planning application, they would do so at that time. This delegation is for anything else other than that. So that's why it's set out that way.
Okay. And I'm happy to see that committees do require a seconder for the motion. I just have a feeling that maybe in some kind of a change that just got left or didn't get saved, because we always did do that. So that's good. Rules of order.
And the other thing, I've
What page are
suggested,
you on?
I'm on page 71, item 8.3, suggesting that requests for delegations be by the end of the Wednesday rather than currently we have it till noon on Thursday. It makes it very difficult for Yolanda to get, and people always seem to push the envelope. So if we have them send it to us by the Wednesday, it will help us in our distribution of the agenda.
Okay, that's good. Anyone else have any other comments or?
Just a question on that. So is that the Wednesday? So that would be yesterday?
Yes.
Wow, that's not a lot of time at all. Like, I mean, that's not a lot of time at all for Yolanda or staff if somebody comes in at 4 o'clock to put them on the agenda for, I thought they had to come to you the last Friday before. Surprising to me.
Yeah.
Wednesday's enough time to. You do it, not me, but somebody coming in at Wednesday at 4:30 saying they want to be on the agenda for tomorrow's meeting is. Especially that would apply for a planning meeting too, then, right? Which is at 9.
Planning is a little bit different because people do have that option to, like, and they don't have to be a delegation per se to speak against or for a planning matter. So they could show up or they could Zoom in and be recognized, and they have that right to make their presentation at that time. So
even if it wasn't like we had the last planning meeting, even if it wasn't something that was actually on the agenda, but they were speaking on issues from before, they could come in Wednesday.
if there's a planning matter before, so if there's a zoning bylaw or a minor variance, they have that right to speak.
She can do anything.
Or should it be Wednesday noon? Would that be easier?
that gives Yolanda a little more time, yes?
For a delegation, they would know that they were wanting to come probably before, a few days before Thursday anyways.
Yeah, I would think so, yes. So, and staff, they're required to have the reports into us by Wednesday at the end of the day, again, so that it gives the administrator time to review them and sign off on them. So,
Maybe it should be Wednesday noon then.
Wednesday noon.
Wednesday noon, because usually, you know, you might get one or two delegations that need to be on the agenda. If you don't get any, and somebody calls at 1 o'clock, Yolanda can make up her mind whether she can fit that in easier.
And it may come to a point where we have to be firm with that and cut people off because,
Yeah, because you don't want,
well, sitting in this
Sixth
seat for a little over a
generation.
year now, and I see what really goes on to prepare the agenda and organize it, it's a lot of work. So I think we do have to be quite firm and, you know, cut them off if they are late, so.
okay. So we're good with Wednesday at noon for that.
Fine with me.
We're changing it to Wednesday. at
Sorry,
noon.
Pat, I was actually looking through here as well. So that's under 8.3, communications submitted for agenda from public. That's communications. I don't think that speaks to delegation. If you go to item section 11, under section 11.1, delegation request,
Oh, here it is.
it does prescribe that a request for delegation form must be submitted 6 working days preceding the meeting. So I think that communications talks to maybe a different publication, maybe not a delegation.
Okay, so that we need to make clear.
That's where I guess the
Well,
confusion
that's-
was. I always thought that they had to have it in, because usually you post it, you land on Friday, right? Which gives time for council and the public to read over things. So for somebody that's coming in on a Wednesday before, that's a lot of stress on the staff to, but I think you're correct. I think 8.3 is just talking about communications received from the public up to the agenda deadline. If, in the opinion of the clerk and the CAO, warrants a consideration of council of committees, so that's up to you, Troy.
I wonder if that would be in the case of some sort of emergency or something that really needed attention. Maybe that would be a last ditch effort to. I'm not sure.
Well, for this addendum that we got, something like that, like adding some pictures or something like that, just that might
Yeah.
affect your decision.
Yeah, a written recommendation of some sort.
So I'm willing to leave it like that, if that's up to Troy and the clerk's decision, then to decide whether or not to accept it or not. If it comes in too late, Troy, and it's too much for the staff, then you can say, you know what, you can put it in the next one.
Thanks for clarifying.
Okay, and then we got section 11, the delegations, and that's all. You satisfied with that, Yolanda? Okay, so we don't need to make any changes on it then. Okay, anything else? Good. Good job, Pat. So I have a mover for that, don't
Yeah, so just
who moved it? I forget.
Deputy Mayor Gibson and seconded by Councillor Hogg. And then it's just.
The changes.
Yes, as amended.
You've got the changes.
I've written them down. so,
Okay.
Yep.
All in favor? Carried. Item 12 is committee reports, and the one we have is Alma Calderman Library, April 11th. Be it resolved that the Alma Calderman Public Library minutes of April 11th, 2022 be received and filed. Can I have a mover, please? Counselor Phillips, second by Deputy Mayor Gibson. I better initial who's doing these so I remember. All in favor? Carried. Somebody wanted to speak to those today? Okay. Item 13, correspondence, air communications, and we've had an update on that today that was given to us. And it's correspondence received May 19th, request for closure of narrow road allowances to motorized vehicles with the exception of EMS vehicles. So I think the staff want to recommend that Brian have a look at this. He's not on right now. No,
It's not, yeah.
is that what your
Yes,
recommendation
yes,
is going to be?
Yes, before we make any decision, I think it's of value that staff go out and do a little bit of an investigation of what's going on. Maybe correspond with the president of the motorized club, ATV club, motorcycle clubs as well, and even the county forest. So before a decision is made, I do believe investigation by staff needs to be done.
Could be,
Okay. And that's just down the hill from me.
That is correct.
So there has been, I'll just like to update Brian on some things there as well. So, and to keep Public Works in the loop, maybe if he goes to tour it, maybe Jim can go with him and learn all that.
Yep, I'll mention that to Brian.
Okay, but I'll talk to Brian as well. So can I have a mover on that then? Be it resolved that the correspondence on motorized public vehicles be referred to Public Works Manager Brian McMillan for a report back to council. Want more in the, okay, can I have a mover? Deputy Mayor Gibson. Councillor Hogg, second. Any other comments? All in favor? Carried. I'd like to add one more thing, and maybe it needs to wait until Brian comes back. I don't think people really understand road closures and that we don't do road closures or rarely do a road closure. And I'm wondering when this is finished, if maybe Brian could write a communication that can be posted on our website or put on a paper when somebody makes that request. Here's the information on what we have and why we do and why we don't. Because we get too many of these that we can't close roads. Just a suggestion. Our next item is item 13.2. Correspondence from the region of Niagara. Be it resolved that the correspondence from the region of Niagara dated May 25th, 2022, re-support of motion, voluntary Russian sanction request be received and filed. Could I have the mover, please? Deputy Mayor Gibson, second. Councillor Phil. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. Item 13.3, this is correspondence from the our list of correspondence to receive and file, so I'll only read them once. Be it resolved that the following correspondence be received and filed. AMO Communications dated May 19th, 22, re AMO Watch file. AMO Communications dated May 20th, 2022, re AMO Policy Update, Federal Housing Accelerator Fund. Federal Flood Hazard Identification and Mapping Program webinar, and National Adaptation Strategy for Climate Change Action Consultation. AMO Communications dated May 26, 22. Re-AMO Watch File Trans Northern Pipelines, Inc., Re-Spring Summer 2022 newsletter, and Ed's House Northumberland Hospice Care Center appreciation of pledge, which is now be received in full. So that was our financial support to Ed's House on this year's budget. And the letter came from Linda Kay. So can I have a mover? Councillor Phillips, second. Councillor Booth, all in favor? Carried. So item 14, bylaw 14.1, that's been moved to June 16th. We don't need another motion.
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bylaw 14.2, and this is the bylaw for the signing authority to lakefront utilities. Be it resolved that bylaw number 68, 2022, being a bylaw to authorize the signing and execution of an agreement between the Corporation of the Township of Alnwick Haldeman and Lakefront Utilities, Inc., Lucy, for the provision of services for the municipal buildings, non-residential wells at 4 community centers commencing January 1st, 2022 for a 5-year term, be read and deemed to be passed the second day of June, 2022. Mover. Councillor Phillips, second. Councillor Hogg, all in favor? Carried. Bylaw 14.3, and this is the bylaw for the regulation and keeping of licensing dogs, etc. I'm running out of voice. Be it resolved that bylaw number 71-2022, being a bylaw for the regulation, registration, keeping and licensing of dogs, prohibiting the running of dogs of large and prohibiting cruelty to domestic animals within the township of Alnwick Haldeman, be read and deemed to be passed the second day of June, June 2022. Now the mover. Deputy Mayor Gibson, second by Councillor Phillips, all in favor? Carried. Bylaw number 72-2022, and this is authorizing the signing and execution of acknowledgement and direction for the conveyance of a piece of property at Turk Road for road widening purposes. Be it resolved that bylaw number 72-2022, being a bylaw to authorize the signing and execution of an acknowledgement and direction for the conveyance of Part 3 on Plan 39R14466 Turk Road, legally described as part of Lot 9, Concession 3, Township of Haldeman, now in the Township of Alnwick Haldeman, for road widening purposes, be read and deemed to be passed the second day of June, 2022. Mover. Councillor Booth, second. Councillor Hogg. All in favor?
Just ask a question.
Sure.
Through you, Joy, can you explain this? So who is this agreement exactly with?
This
Talking
is,
about the widening of Turk Road. Go ahead.
this is for the severance that council approved the last meeting. It's to do with Watts and Ward.
I didn't see a name. I was like, who's widening it?
Yeah, it's a condition of severance.
Thank you.
And once it's been transferred over to the township, then we'll be bringing a bylaw to assume it into the township road system. You're welcome.
Okay. Oh, calling the vote. All in favor? Carried. Item 15 is announcements and notice of motions. First, Councillor Phelps.
I have no announcements at this time.
Councillor Booth.
Yes, your worship, just two. A reminder that this Sunday, June the 5th, from 11 a.m. to 1:30 is the Northumberland Land Trust. I guess it's a transfer of land, the Bona Baker Nature Reserve.
Mhm.
And it's from 11 a.m. till 12:30, and then they're doing a 1-hour walk or tour. And it's off of Wilson Drive, which is near, just off of Hoskins, right? That's this Sunday. And then just through the fire department that on Saturday, June the 11th, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. is the fire department fire prevention and public education day. It has a tour of the station. The kids get to have a tour of the trucks, an equipment demonstration, free hot dogs and drinks. That's always nice. Troy will be there for sure then. Oh.
Food brings out all the kids.
Yeah. And just to mention that it's also there is supporting help from the Hamilton Fire Department and the Trent Hills Fire Department. They're doing it all in conjunction.
Okay, and it's in Roseneath.
It's at Roseneath, yeah.
Okay,
That's it. Thank you.
thank you. Counselor Hogg?
I have nothing at this time.
Okay. I got a letter asking me to attend the Roseneath grade 8 graduation. So I accepted that, but I haven't yet heard from either one of the other schools, and I'm wondering if any of you have or know when their dates are. You do.
I'm just in the process of talking to both schools at Grafton, so I will get all the information and let you know. So
Okay.
it's just started conversations this week, so.
Okay, so I'm already doing this one, so if council members choose to do one of the other ones, that's fine.
I'll send it out to all of council when I get the information.
All right. Do we know when we're coming back are we here as a full council now forever?
Do you mean like in person here? Yeah, all council, yeah, we
Okay.
can carry on the way we are. I
Okay,
still may have some department heads that go virtual like we're doing, so I think we'll carry on this way for a bit.
okay, because I know some of the other ones are coming back this month and next month. Deputy Mayor Gibson.
I may have missed speaking to this when our Public Works manager was here, but I was wondering if I could get any indication from staff whether the trees that were downed in some of our parks will be replaced, because I've had some people asking. Specifically, I did get a call from somebody about there's 2 trees in the memorial at Roseneath, the parkette. Would they be replaced? So I didn't know if you had. I know it's been a busy time, and that's probably not even something that's the focus right now. But even if we could give people kind of some direction about it'll be something that'll be put onto projects in the future.
Yeah, I can definitely sit down with Brian and talk about it. You're right, we haven't discussed it at this point, but there's options that we could do, tree donation program or something like that. So I'll definitely mention it and we'll come up with a plan.
Thank you. That's all.
Perfect, okay. Item 16 is moving into our closed session. That the Council of the Township of Alma Calderman will be recessing to a closed session under section 2392 to consider personnel matters about an identifiable individuals, including municipal or local board employees, and advise that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose, with the CAO acting clerk, CBO, MBEO planning assistant, Parks Recreation and Cultural coordinator, and deputy clerk remaining in attendance at 1:35 p.m. I'm a mover, please. Deputy Mayor Gibson, Councillor Phillips, second. All in favor? Carried.